Ladies and gentlemen, Democratic Senator Adam Schiff has just inadvertently leaked the upcoming plan of the far-left radical progressives, and so folks, it is absolutely imperative that you watch today's video. Now, as many of you know, as the Los Angeles riots have been unfolding over the last couple of days, the Democrats have been trying to push the narrative that all of this chaos has actually been caused by President Trump. Not the millions of illegal aliens from the third world, not the open border policies, not the Latin American gangs. No, according to the Democrats, the real problem here is that President Trump is trying to actually solve all of the issues that they created. And so, folks, I want you all to very carefully listen to what Senator Adam Schiff had to say about all of this. Then we're going to have a lot to talk about. Let it play.
The president betrayed the promise that he would focus on violent criminals who were here unlawfully. He hasn't done that. He's resorted to these indiscriminate raids of workplaces, increasingly, I fear, outside of farms, traffic stops, the Home Depot, grabbing citizens and non-citizens alike, and prompting protest, which you would expect. And because I think this playbook will repeat around the country, it's important we recognize this playbook Trump is using. Once there are protests, and there are always going to be some violent agitators, and, you know, violence has no place in this. It ought to be condemned. It is condemned. Anybody using violence should be arrested and prosecuted. But the president wants these confrontations so that he can call out the military in other cities in America as part of his would-be dictator playbook. And we need to be aware of what we're seeing in L.A., this abuse of the military, we are likely to see everywhere.
So, folks, first off, I have to say this. If Adam Schiff's lips are moving, you can be absolutely certain that he is lying. He's acting as if well over half of Americans didn't just vote for President Trump to deport every single illegal alien in the entire country. Not just the gang members, not just the human traffickers. Every single one of them has got to go, and that is what we all voted for. But okay, now folks, what do you say we talk about the radical progressive plan that Adam Schiff just inadvertently leaked? But before we do, I want to say real fast that if you guys enjoy the daily news updates, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton. But okay, check this out. Right now, all of the far-left radical progressives, including Democratic Senator Adam Schiff, are accusing President Trump of using Los Angeles as a testing ground for his upcoming evil fascist plans. But the reality is that it's actually the far-left radical progressives who are currently planning on rioting across the country and staging what is effectively a nationwide insurrection. As we now know, their plan is to stage hundreds of riots nationwide, just like the ones we've all been witnessing in Los Angeles. In fact, this upcoming Saturday, June 14th, the far-left radical progressives are planning nationwide protests, which will almost certainly devolve into riots that are planned to take place in over 1,800 locations nationwide in every single state across the nation. And so right now, they're desperately trying to preemptively control the narrative. What they're trying to do is push the narrative that by using the National Guard to restore order back to our cities, that President Trump is some sort of evil dictator. But the reality is, this is frankly something that should have been done years ago. Because folks, let me show you something that the Democrats and the far-left radical progressives like Democratic Senator Adam Schiff don't want you to see. Take a look.
Tonight, why don't we introduce you, this was on FoxNews.com, to some of the other criminal illegal aliens that the left is so desperate to keep in your country, that Gavin is fighting for, Karen Bass is fighting for. First up, Jose Ortiz from Ecuador, previously sentenced to 11 years in prison after getting caught with 11 kilos of cocaine. That's close to $500,000 worth of cocaine. Next up is Armando Ordaz, or a suspected gang member from Mexico. Now, Armando is a convicted sex offender and a thief. Then, of course, there's Victor Mendoza Aguilar from Mexico, who previously was deported in 2017. This suspected gang member served time for drug charges and deadly assault with a deadly weapon, among other crimes. And here is Delfino Aguilar Martinez from Mexico. He was convicted of assault with a deadly weapon with great bodily injury. Next up is Eswin Ariel Castro, who was also previously deported. Castro has convictions for child molestation, has also been arrested for robbery, domestic violence. And look at your screen. This is Lionel Sanchez Laguna. His crimes include battery to a spouse, cruelty to a child, shooting into a house, assault with a firearm, and a DUI on top of that. We could go on and on. I have pages and pages and pages of people that they are arresting, including a convicted murderer from Vietnam and a guy from the Philippines convicted of an unspeakable sexual assault. But just so we are clear, this is who the anti-ICE protesters are fighting for. These are the people that Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass are protecting. These are the people that would still be on the streets of Los Angeles if their mayor, if their governor had their way. They were all protected, every one of them, under L.A. and California's insane sanctuary city and state policies.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, let's just go ahead and set the record straight. President Trump has only been back in the White House for 6 months, so really, the deportation efforts are just getting underway. So far, ICE really is just targeting the worst of the worst illegal aliens, despite what the Democrats have to say about it. But it is true, as time goes on, the ICE raids are going to keep on getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so, folks, on that note, take a look at this. According to a brand new poll that came out just last night, the overwhelming majority of Americans nationwide, 59% to be exact, actually support President Trump's activation of the National Guard in Los Angeles. So you know what? Given the national support that President Trump has right now, here's my honest opinion. I personally hope that President Trump activates the National Guard nationwide to help deal with these upcoming No Kings riots and to help speed up all of the deportations. The unfortunate reality is, under the far left's incompetent leadership, our country has been invaded by tens of millions of illegal aliens, and as the entire nation now realizes, we have a massive problem on our hands. Genuinely, over the last couple of days, what we've seen is a foreign occupying force marching through our streets, waving foreign flags, attacking American citizens, assaulting federal officers, and causing hundreds of millions of dollars worth of damage. So really, the Democrats' claim that President Trump is some sort of authoritarian is really just a hypocritical attempt to deflect from the violence that their own radical supporters are causing. In reality, all President Trump is doing right now is enforcing our already existing federal immigration laws and shutting down all of the violence and instability that's been caused by the Democrats' radically progressive policies. And so, folks, here's my question for all of you. Given how serious this illegal alien invasion really is, and given the Democrats' plan for national chaos this upcoming Saturday, do you think that President Trump should go ahead and activate the National Guard across the country? Because, ladies and gentlemen, between you and me, I think that's what it's going to take to actually put America first. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap up, I do want to say real quick that we officially have a Morse News Twitter page as well as a Morse News Facebook page. So if you use either of those platforms, please go down below and drop a follow in order to get breaking news updates that relate to everything we talk about here in the YouTube videos. But everyone, that is going to be a wrap for today's video, so please go down below and drop a comment. Let me know what you think about all of this. Please like the video while you're down there, and like I said earlier, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton. Thank you all very much for tuning in today, and of course, as always, stay safe.